Okay, this is episode 8, and this is Incubation and Resources. So I've been to some incubators and technological accelerators before. There are even ways I was able to get funding from virtual incubators, quote unquote. So it's a nice way to be able to get funding and partnership opportunities, especially the tech accelerators or incubators that offer SBIR grants or offer seed funding or things like that, which I'm more towards the actual funding states where I try formalizing large partnerships and stuff like that. But a thing that is important is you're still gonna wanna pitch to them. You're gonna wanna convey your message. You're gonna wanna be able to utilize your resources once you get into an incubator or once you're able to get into an accelerator. And once you're able to basically say, okay, these are my assets. This is my business. This is my business plan. This is what I've done. Like once you follow the methods I told you and try to build this early stage startup and do all these formalities and build your MVP and do this and this, you're probably already at that stage where you're ready to get that seed funding or get Series A even. And even if you're not you could still advance this further, because I'm more of the guy who likes advancing it to the point where I'm like, okay, I can just start out getting Series C or Series D funding because I built it all the way from here, from MVP. And there are some where you just need seed funding from the get-go, depending on the type of startup you're doing. But either way, an incubator and accelerator is a great way to get funding. Something that I don't recommend in terms of resources is going to an incubator just for renting space, or go to one of those co-working spaces or those incubators that are just sort of rent rooms that I call it, or rent centers, because lots of people think it's a great idea in terms of meeting other entrepreneurs, but the only good aspect of it is you have a professional office working space. But I think spending lots of money on that from the get-go, when you want to do co-working or build lots of those stuff, it's better to just go to a library, because lots of co-working spaces offer the same services that libraries offer for free. So getting a room in a library to meet might seem like a bit lame or something at first, but it's better than spending 150 or even 500 a month just so you have an office for special occasions, because you could rent by the hour too at specific places and only pay $20. So I would recommend getting a co-working space in the get-go, maybe later on, just so you have that professional look to you. But what I really recommend as a resource is going to accelerators and stuff like that that offer funding that you may need in order to push what you have further. Another good resource is, I already talked about lots of the online educational resources, and there's tons of information available on YouTube and online web, so it's quite interesting. But there are ways where you could learn how to do organic PR or press release templates. Something that's nice is utilizing websites like Fiverr or Freelancer or Upwork a lot. A site that I like utilizing is called Microworker or Pickle Workers. There are other sites like that. Even SEO clicks. Now, you have to be careful when using some of the freelance websites, because you don't want to buy something that's bad quality in terms of it causing negative presence for your business, because there are lots of scams out there. But for stuff like designing this or making this cover sheet, you could end up spending $5 to $10 on something they have paid a couple hundred or a couple thousand for. So there are lots of resources like that as well for those low on funding. There are the maker spaces. There are also different accelerator centers. There's even some states have small business resource centers where you could get free advising or mentorship every once in a while. You don't necessarily need to pay for some of those, and that's a great resource to look into if you are university students or university incubators, although some aren't really as advanced as you'd want them to be. If you are working for a company like General Electric or even General Dynamics. They do have, from what I heard, innovation centers or even small workplace incubators. So it really depends on where you are. You could either get an incubator at like your university, or if your workplace is big and offers one where they let their employees sort of build out their idea and your company might fund it, that could be a good idea. The downside to that though is, do you really own your IP at that point? The other aspect is obviously virtual incubators, like ones that offer funding, but it's mostly online, and you might have to meet 1 or 2 days for demo days. And the other aspect is like incubators and accelerators that are available in your community that you could get membership at or go to. I don't recommend membership incubators, and for accelerators I only recommend like going to the accelerators that offer you seed funding. And if you're going to go to an incubator, go to one that has lots of partnerships and a really big presence, because you want to make the most out of it. I don't recommend renting space, as I said so earlier in the video, and that's a resource that I would utilize a lot.